constructor injection of class types can be done with a bit of TypeScript, and that's it. To get value types injected into constructors, Angular needs a bit more help. Let's create a value provider for our app to store some lookup lists and provide them at Bootstrap. In the app.module.ts file, we can add a local variable named lookup_lists and set it to an object literal with a property for mediums. To add the value to the providers, we need to add it to the list of providers in the module metadata. But to do that for a value provider, we need to use a different syntax to add it to the providers array. We can add a provider object literal as an array entry here. The provider object literal needs a property named provide that gets set to either a type or a string literal. For our lookup list, we can set it to a string literal of lookup list token. And then it needs the value to use. We can make use of another property named useValue and set that to the lookup list we created above. Okay, let's go over what you need to do to use that in a class constructor. The media item form component can benefit from using this new lookup list value type, using it to help render out the drop-down options in the form. So let's switch over to the media item form.component.ts file. Now we need to import the inject decorator found in the Angular core scoped package. So let's add that to the import list. Similar to how you can use some decorators to decorate class properties, the inject decorator is used to decorate function parameters. So we will add a new constructor parameter named lookup_lists. And in front of it, we will add @inject with parentheses. The inject decorator supports passing in a string literal that represents the value type. So we put lookup_list token in single quotes, the same value we used in the provide object in the module providers metadata. This tells Angular that we want it to pass in the lookup_list token value object into this constructor during constructor injection. Now we want to be able to use this lookup_list object within the template markup so we can render out the select options in the form. Remembering that any properties we put on the component class will be available to the template, we can leverage a bit of TypeScript syntactic sugar here to do this for us. If we put the public access modifier in between the inject decorator and the lookup_list parameter name, it will work like the private modifier we added to the other parameters above it, creating a class property for the parameter and setting it in the constructor call. Now we can switch to the template HTML file for the form and refactor the select options to use the lookup_list property in an ng4 directive. And we also need to update the option elements to only have one and use the media template input variable from the ng4. And if we switch over to the browser, we can fill out the form and see everything working as expected.